Hey, what's up? It's me, ya boy. Earlier this year, I made a video called Bookish Pet Peeves. For the longest time, I've been thinking about making like a sequel type video to the original video of other bookish pet peeves I've had, but I've had a really hard time coming up with a list. And then recently, I had this idea about certain things in my writing life that are really annoying, and I was like, you know what? We could just make a Bookish Pet Peeves, except it ain't about books, it's about my own book, a writing pet peeves video. So, today I'm gonna be telling you all of my writing pet peeves. I don't know if anyone's gonna relate to these. I feel like I'm all by myself for a few of these things, like especially like some of the really stupid ones that I do. So let's begin with all the pet peeves that make me want to scream at the top of my lungs. The first one is one that I've mentioned before. NaNoWriMo cheaters. Oh my goodness, these people make me want to literally choke on my own vomit. NaNoWriMo, if you don't know, is National Novel Writing Month, where you have to write 50,000 words in the month of November. People pull up on day one of NaNoWriMo with so many words. You know they wrote those words before NaNoWriMo, and then they end up winning NaNoWriMo because they typed in words that they had written outside of NaNoWriMo. The point of NaNoWriMo isn't to reach 50,000, it's to write 50,000. I could pull up with 49,999 words, and on day 2, I could win NaNoWriMo. Are you telling me that you deserve a win because you wrote one dang word all of NaNoWriMo? Are you saying the blood and tears I put into NaNoWriMo are for nothing, and you're just gonna pull up and write like 2 words and win? How is that fair? I will never be over this. I will rant about this for the rest of my life because people do it, and I know it. Especially when people are like, oh, like, I retyped the words. No, you did not. Okay, the next thing is something that I don't know if it's relatable at all, but like this is something that happens to me all the dang time, and in editing I want to actually die. Whenever you start out a new sentence, you typically, at least I typically, you hit shift, you type the first key, you take your hand off shift, and you keep writing, right? It capitalizes the letters and they look all pretty. Me, being a relatively fast typer, I type really fast and I'm like getting things and I'm like living my life, like typing my little heart out, and then this thing happens where my hand doesn't fly off that shift key fast enough. So then, the words I'm writing look like this. The sentences start off with all my characters like screaming for just a little bit and then like chilling out. The next thing is a thing that I don't think is very common, but this happened to me while I'm writing my current draft, and it was the fact that I had been spelling a character's name wrong for the entire draft. The series of events that had unfolded here were that I had gone back to reread my first draft. I was going through it, kind of rereading things, trying to get certain details or maybe just a few things here and there to grab to see if I was missing things. The character in reference was a character that has a very short name, only 3 letters. He kind of comes and goes. He's just kind of mentioned, but not in the book because, spoiler alert, but he dead. He dead. We don't even think about that boy. I do. Actually, it's really sad how he died. Maybe you'll find out someday, but whatever. So, like, his name kind of comes and goes. It's more just, like, dropped here and there. Like, not a big character at all, really. And so, I go back to my old draft, and I look, and I'm like, oh, wow, I spelled his name wrong that whole draft. My first draft, like, I'm so stupid. Like, why did I do that? For my second draft, I wrote a new outline with all these new details and all these new things that were gonna make the story a lot stronger, and I noticed that I spelled it that same way, and so that meant that me right now was writing it wrong. For an entire draft, I wrote a whole character's name wrong, but it like isn't a big name, so it isn't a big deal. But my problem is I don't know which spelling I like more, because the letter that I got wrong was like a C and a K, so it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, it's the same. Like, whatever one looks better, go with it. But I can't figure out which one I like more, and I've just been going back and forth. When I go to edit this dang draft, I'm gonna have to pick a name. I'm gonna have to pick one. Which one is it? A C or a K? What is it? Maybe someday you'll read this and I'll be able to just like tell you all of the things, but it sucks, okay? It's just the worst. So the next few things are all regarding people finding out that you write. I realized that whenever I tell someone that I write, people ask me just the weirdest freaking questions ever. Maybe it's only me, maybe I'm the only one who has ever been through this, and maybe that's a good thing. But I would like to think other people have been asked these absurd questions. The first of which is probably the dumbest question I ever get. People ask, am I in it? I guess the thing I don't really get is, in what context would I fanfic my own life? Like, I don't know, is that a thing people do? Do people just like write themselves in a book and all their friends in a book? Is that a thing? Why would I put you in my book? For me, when I write a book, I'm making stuff up. Are you telling me that I'm not creative enough to make up my own people? Like, also, I'm thinking, if anybody ever reads that book, whether it's like published or you just like give it to a friend, could you imagine reading your friend's book and there's just like you in it? Like, that's weird. Okay, that's weird. Like, is it a compliment meant? Like, if I was in my friend's book, I would be really uncomfortable. Like, why am I in your book? Like, why are you fanficking about me? I don't like that. Like, no. Is that a thing that people do, or is it not? I don't know, and I don't know why somebody else would immediately assume that I don't have the creative abilities to make up my own characters. Why would I add all my friends and family in it? I don't know. I will never understand. The next question isn't as big of a deal, but for me at least, I get really annoyed when this happens, when people are like, oh, what's your book about? And you just stand there and you're like, let me think. I don't like telling people what my books are about because I always get flustered. And then I'm like, okay, so this person is doing this, and then this also oh, by the way, this happens too. Oh, it takes far too long to explain because like I try to make it sound interesting without sounding like really stupid, and it's hard. Maybe you've seen some book hauls and I'm like, I think this is what this is about, because I don't know. I'm really bad at knowing what things are about. I'm like really out of the loop. I'm gonna be screwed if I ever get this book published. And the last one is something I get more on the internet side of things, but a few people have asked me in real life. Is your book being published? How do I know? People on the internet always ask me this, like maybe you've asked me this, like what's up? But whenever I do Instagram lives and I mention my book or NaNoWriMo or something, people say, oh, when's it being published? And I'm like, I don't freaking know. I'm not even done writing it yet. Like, I think another misconception is that a lot of people think that you can just like publish your book. Like, I know that is an option, just like put it on Amazon, but like that's not something I want to do. Whenever I make a writing video, I get the comment being like, yay, I can't believe you're publishing a book. I'm like, I'm not. Where in my video did I say I'm getting this published? I mean, that's always an end goal for me. I would love to be published author. That's like a dream of mine since I was like a freaking like bean. Where in my videos of writing do I like mention like, oh, and by the way, it's gonna be published in June? Like, no, I never say that. I say I finished my first draft, and then someone like comments, they're like, I can't believe you're getting your book published. And I'm like, I am? The answer to that question is I have no freaking idea. If I ever get an agent or a publisher, I will let you know. But for now, I'm just a 17-year-old writer having a fun time writing books on the side as a hobby. It's not a job, and it never will be until it is. If there's anything ever about me getting my book somewhat published, I will let you know. I will not let you forget. When I'm on Twitter, I'll be like, hey guys, my book's being published. Hey, what's up? Oh, I'm just editing my book. Oh, wow, I can't wait for you to read this. I will be such a freaking troll, and you will hate me. If you can relate to any of these, please let me know. I don't even know if you'll be able to, because I feel like part of this was very incoherent. If you have any other writing pet peeves, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Maybe I can relate to some of yours that I just forgot to include in this video. Make sure to check out my bookish pet peeves as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.